There are things out there. Creatures, monsters, ghouls and spirits. Beings that fall outside the realm of visible truth, beyond the confines of our basic reality. They lurk in the dark, haunt the recesses of our minds, and stir our curiosity in the unusual and weird. They are taboo topics, stories that we tell around the campfire and folklore passed down from our ancestors. We've been taught that these things don't exist, that they are merely myth and legend. Or are they? Welcome to the Occult Archives. I'm your host and spooky librarian, E.M. Moon, but feel free to refer to me as E. Here lies a space beyond all spaces, a library full of arcane information enough to drive any normal person mad. If you can think of it, if you can question it, the archives probably have what you seek.
Tonight's episode is another Stories from the Archives with the Broomwood Saga. We're getting on to Chapter 4 and hopefully Chapter 5 if I have enough time. Normally, I would have probably tried to do another 667 episode tonight, but those are significantly longer than these because of how they're written, and my time allotment renews in 3 days. It is currently the 11th of November. No, the 10th of November. I lied. I was reading that backwards. And I just got to get some stuff done and out to you so I'm not wasting the time that I pay for with the podcast. And I'm rambling now. So let's get into Chapter 4 of this story. And if I have enough time, hopefully Chapter 5. Tonight's book is The Broomwood Saga, Episode 1, Blood, Stone, and Shadow. We've read 3 chapters up until now, and I cannot remember if I gave you the names of those chapters. So, just in case, it started off with Chapter 1, Broom Hollow Apothecary, Chapter 2, The Necklace, and Chapter 3, Inheritance. Tonight will be Chapter 4, Being Hunted, and hopefully if I have the ability to record like I want to, Chapter 5, Does Magic Work Like That? So, without further ado, here is Chapter 4 of Blood, Stone, and Shadow. Being Hunted. Nope. Nothing was normal. I woke up in Kian's bed to the smell of bacon and eggs, the scent beckoning me to the living room where I found Kian in the kitchen, wearing nothing but plaid pajama trousers, a spatula in hand as he scrambled eggs in a hot pan. I was still dreaming. I had to be. Morning. You hungry? I ran down and grabbed some coffee from the breakfast bean and put it in the microwave to try and keep it at least lukewarm. Kian greeted me, turning off the eye of the stove. I didn't answer him right away as I was enamored with the spectacle in front of me, shirtless Kian and everything else that went with him. Yes, please. I accepted politely, getting another one of those smiles from him as he plated my food and set it on the bar, bringing me a cup of coffee from the microwave. How'd you sleep? He checked on me as he took a seat next to mine and started eating. Good. I honestly was hoping yesterday had all been some sort of bad dream, I admitted, taking a bite of my eggs. Unfortunately, no. Your head doing any better? He didn't dwell on my lament and switched to another question. I rubbed the back of my head to check, finding a little lump that was indeed very sore. Yes and no. The headache is still there, but not bad. Definitely have a lump, though. We need to keep an eye on that, but if you're up to it, want to go with me to pick up the glass for your door? My friend Sal will cut it to measurement, so I need to measure the panels before we go. Kian commented on my banged-up skull before inviting me along on his ride to pick up supplies. Sure, I replied, sipping my coffee gratefully. Not like I can really do much else at the moment. Might be good to get out. We settled on our plans and finished our breakfast before we went back to the shop for me to change and Kian to measure the window panels. From there, he took me to his car, since he didn't think it best for me to be on the subway at the moment, and headed deeper into the city. It was nice being driven around by someone you actually knew. The conversation was much better. So, how much do you think glass is going to run me? And then, obviously, I need your rates. I asked Kian about his services as he navigated the busy New York City streets. It's not going to run you anything. I've got it covered. He replied, keeping his eyes on the road. I snorted. No, I can't let you do that. this is what you do for work. It's your business, and I'm going to pay you for the job and supplies. Consider it a welcome to the neighborhood gift, he countered, and it had me laughing in disbelief. You're the one that just moved in? I let out a chuckle of amazement, eliciting a hearty laugh from him also. I'm here to help take care of the neighborhood, and part of that care is helping you repair your door, free of cost, so you don't lose business. Not only is it the right thing to do, but you doing well means I do well, and so on down the line. We have to lift one another when we can. Kean gave me an explanation to why he was offering his services for free, and as I thought about it, he really did have a point. I could pay him, like I wanted, or I could turn around and do a favor for him in return when he needed it. Those sorts of things foster community, and community was important, especially with how society had become. You're absolutely right, but that means that when I return the favor, and I will, you have to accept it with no excuses. I challenged him playfully. We'll see. I may have a leg up on you by then. I like taking care of people. He turned and winked at me, a look that made me blush for some reason. So, Sal, he a professional glass cutter? I queried, hearing the question come out of my mouth sounding so stupid, but I was trying to make conversation. In a way. Sal owns a body shop down on Sawyer, and he got a glass cutting machine to fit custom windows. We trade services all the time, and I just recently helped him acquire a whole fleet of cars to customize for some celebrity. So I figured he could let me have some of his surplus and cut it to size for me. Kean replied, and I thought the two jobs were hardly comparable. He was really doing such a nice thing for me. I want to start doing more community work. I spent so much time focusing on myself and creating the shop, I haven't really reached out to the people around me to see if there's anything I can do, and I love to help. I found myself announcing things to this man that I didn't even like to talk to Sabrina about. It was weird. I'll help you with whatever you need. We can host a fundraiser or do a raffle with proceeds going towards the community itself or the park up the street. Or it could be as small as helping out with your neighbor's pets or running to the store for them. That's what a lot of my work is, helping those that are having a hard time in life. That's why I bought the brownstone. Kean kindly offered to help me, but I had also discovered something new about him. So you own the tenant house? I asked curiously. Kean gave me a nod as we turned down a side street. I do. Bought it, renovated it, offering low-cost rooms with 5-star service. I currently have 4 tenants, 2 elderly individuals, a single mother and her 8-year-old, and then a man who was on his journey to sobriety. Cost is too high here in the city, but sometimes the city is all they have. I take a portion of the rent to pay for property tax, pay what bills I have, and then I put the rest away in case there are issues that need to be taken care of within the apartment or somebody needs groceries and can't afford them. Just making sure they have a place to call home and food in their stomachs. Yeah, this had to be a dream. The more time I spent with Kean, the more he talked, the more I realized that this man was a goddamn unicorn. Never in my entire life had I ever met someone that seemed to be so selfless, so empathetic, and it had me wondering what the catch was. That's really incredible. I wish I had the ability to do something like that. I know what it's like to not have a lot, to be run down and feeling hopeless. It's a really great thing you're doing. I praised him, whether he liked it or not. We start small, but more on that later. We're here. Kean pointed out the sign to Sal's Auto Body and Custom Design as we pulled into the parking lot, and he took us around the side to park. When we entered the shop, there was a mostly vacant bay behind a glass counter that held swatches of custom paints and ideas for decals. There was a man behind it wearing fairly clean coveralls and a backwards hat that, based on the color and our locale, was most likely a Yankees cap. He was looking at something on the computer when we walked in, but greeted Kean with familiarity. How's it hanging, Irish? Did you finally bring that tin can in here to get wrapped? The man asked, reaching over the counter to shake Kean's hand. No, Sean, not today. Or ever. I came in to pick up some glass from Sal. Kean returned. Sean pointed towards a door that looked like it may have led to an office and spoke. He's in there, working on the bills. It's been kind of slow. You okay with waiting out here? Kean asked me, and I gave him a nod with a flat smile. It shouldn't be too long. For some reason, this Sean guy made me nervous. Regardless, I wasn't going to follow Kean around like a cat and took a seat on a bench near the counter. I wanted to just wait quietly and without words, but Sean wanted to talk. "You Irish's girlfriend?" he asked me with a lift of the chin. "No, just a friend. He's helping me fix the door to my business." I probably didn't need to give as much detail as I did, but I had a tendency to word vomit when I was anxious, and there was something about this guy. "Oh, what happened to it?" Sean returned with another question, eyeing me over the counter. Didn't he have work he could be doing? "We had a break-in. All is well, but the glass in the door is broken," I replied. I didn't have to say anything to this man, but I also didn't want to be rude. As long as I didn't tell him the name of the shop and the address, I should have been fine. "You look like one of those new agey Satanist types. You run a what do you call them? Occult shop. Or is it all sunshine, sprinkles, and pretty rocks?" Sean made an assessment, and one that had me a little offended and very amused. I tried not to break as I replied, "No, but I guess you could call me a witch. Not a lot of sunshine or sprinkles here, but I do carry a variety of crystals." "Ha! I knew it. I heard about them break-ins happening at places like that. Sounds like yours got hit too." Sean continued on, and I was so ready to be done talking. This man was quite nosy. I was going to put an end to this conversation. "Doubtful. Just some broken glass. But I have an alarm system, so I think it scared them off." I shot back, taking out my phone to occupy myself in hopes that he wouldn't try to keep talking to me. It seemed to work, and I continued to just stare at the same cat picture on my phone, waiting and willing Kean to get done faster so we could get out of there. I'm sure Sal was an upstanding guy, but this Sean bloke just really put me on edge and I couldn't place why. He had stepped away from the counter when a call came in on his cell, and he was now standing in the bay, chatting away. I had pretty much tuned his voice out and was actively playing a matching game when I thought I heard the name of my shop, but I figured it was just me thinking about everything that had happened. So I ignored it. I don't know how much time passed, but it didn't feel like much. I heard Sean talking again, but this time there was a voice actively conversing with him. However, I had seen no one come in. I lifted my head to see if maybe it was Sal or Kean, but a visage in the distance had me immediately on my feet. I wasn't sure I was seeing things correctly at first. I thought maybe it was the post-traumatic stress of the night before, but I soon realized it was exactly who I thought it was. Jasper. My first thought was to run for the office door, but I wasn't quick enough. Jasper had vaulted over the counter and tackled me as I tried to run, bringing me down hard on the concrete. "Give it to me. Give me the goddamn necklace, witch," he whispered menacingly in my ear as he yanked me up from the ground and took me around the counter into the bay. "I don't have it. It's not on me." I lied, even in my panic. It was still in my pocket because even if I couldn't actively wear it, it wasn't leaving my side. "Then take me to it," he demanded with a shake, and in the moment, I got ballsy. I punched him. Hard enough that he released me for a moment to catch his breath, but I didn't make it very far before he had me again. The whole time I was wondering where Sean was, but that shouldn't have been my focus. I needed to make a scene. "Fire! Fire! Fire!" I just started to scream the word over and over again. I could have called out to Kean, but I didn't know if he'd hear me, and I hoped this tactic would at least alert someone. "Shut up! Shut your mouth!" Jasper hissed through clenched teeth as he tried to clamp his hand over my face, but I bit him. I thought he was going to launch me clear across the bay with this move, but then I heard Kean. "Hey, let her go." This was enough of a distraction for me to pull free from Jasper as I ran as fast as I possibly could across the bay and into Kean's protective arms. He quickly pushed me behind him and demanded that Sal, who was now with him, keep an eye on me. He was so incredibly fast. I had never seen a human being run like Kean did, sprinting across the bay in what seemed like only 2 strides before he was on Jasper, taking him down with a tackle. I let out an involuntary gasp as the two began to fight, blow matching blow as I stood idly by, feeling helpless. "What the fuck happened, Sean? Why didn't you call the police?" Sal finally spoke, cell phone in hand, and I realized Sean had been hiding behind the counter, but had now peeked his head out. "Can't be done, boss. There's a reward." Sean returned, now standing to reveal he had a gun in his hand, and it was trained on Sal. "And I'm gonna need for you to put the phone away. This is a big payday for me.
I knew it. I knew something was wrong with Sean, but I didn't quite understand what he was talking about.
I need you to take it back to the office, Sal. Give it 15 and we'll be gone.
Sean gave instructions to the man as he slowly closed in on him with the gun, taking the phone from his hand.
Come on, Sean, what are you doing? If you need a raise, I can give you one. You just had to ask.
Sal pleaded, but Sean was now motioning towards the office again with the gun.
Get in the office. I don't want to have to shoot you, okay?
Sean demanded again with another wave of the weapon. Sal looked at me with concern before he mouthed that he was sorry and disappeared into the office. It was now my turn to be Sean's target.
Sit down over there and don't move. Jasper should be coming for you any minute.
Why? Why are you doing this? I asked, not able to hide the fear in my voice.
They're looking for you, and I happen to find you first. It's not personal, sweetheart. It's just business.
Sean shrugged. I glanced behind him to see Kian and Jasper still going at it, but further down the bay. I could hear them as they fought one another, the sound making me tear up, but I knew that if I didn't make it away from Sean with the gun, I couldn't figure out a way to help Kian. I stood from the bench with no hesitation and started to march up to the counter and past it, but Sean was ready for me. He jumped in my path, and without thinking, I shot my hand out, the gun and Sean flying into the wall of the bay without me even touching them. He moaned in pain as he slumped over on the ground, only half conscious as I picked the gun up and aimed it at Jasper as best I could, walking towards the brawl.
Don't make me shoot you, Jasper.
The voice that came out of my mouth was very much not like me. It was confident and loud, but I wasn't fooling around.
Shoot me. I dare you. You'll only hit your little boyfriend instead.
Jasper managed to snarl out a response as Kian took him down with a kick to the knees. I didn't even know how to shoot a gun, but in theory, did I even have the reactionary time or aim once I figured out what to do? My threat was mostly hollow, but Jasper just wouldn't relent. I took aim at Jasper, his back now to me as he pummeled Kian, and I whispered to myself, "Please, for the love of all that is good, don't let me hit Kian." And then I fired. The bullet struck the concrete floor just to Jasper's left, the sound and impact causing him to turn around and look at me with surprise. This was all it took for Kian to throw the deranged man off of him and give me a clearer shot. But before I could pull the trigger again, he was already up and running for the street, so lightning fast that there was no way either of us would catch him.
Are you all right? Where the hell did you get a gun?
Kian jogged up to me, breathless, before taking the weapon from my quaking hands. Sean, I muttered, pointing behind us where he still lay, now totally unconscious.
I don't understand. Where the fuck did that asshole come from?
Kian was looking to me for answers as he pointed behind himself, but I still wasn't completely sure, so I made an educated guess. I think Sean called him. It started as small talk between us, but then he started asking questions about the shop, because I mentioned you helping me fix the window, and then talking about the break-ins. After I put an end to our conversation, he wandered off into the bay because he received a phone call. I think he tipped Jasper off. I just don't know how he knew. He said something to Sal about a reward that I don't quite understand either. I was almost breathless as I spoke, worried that Sean might wake up and make a run for it, or Jasper would return for more.
Where's Sal?
Kian had one final question for me as he sprinted over to Sean and checked to see if he was still breathing. Sean forced him into the office. I pointed, my eyes trained on Sean's unconscious body.
I'm going to stay here with Sean. You go check on Sal.
Kian gave me an instruction and I nodded reflexively before I headed to the office. I found Sal behind his desk, the shop phone in hand as he conversed with someone.
Wait, the woman just walked into the office.
He spoke before he cupped his hand over the receiver and spoke to me.
Are you okay? Where's Kian? Sean?
I just nodded slowly before I replied. Kian is staying with Sean in case he wakes up. I came to check on you for him.
Wakes up? Where's the other guy?
Sal eyed me and I shrugged. He took off. I thought Sean needed a little nap. I raised my fist to imply that I knocked the bastard unconscious when the reality was much different. Sal went back to speaking with who I assumed to be a 911 operator. That meant that the police were most likely on their way, and I didn't want to have to explain the situation because there were parts of it that just didn't make sense.
Yeah, I hear them now.
Sal's voice intruded on my thoughts, and I realized I could hear the police sirens.
Shit. Come on, Briar. They want us to meet them out there.
Sal politely informed me as he directed me out of the office, and we were met in the lobby by no less than 3 police officers.
Hands up where I can see him, buddy.
One barked at Kian, palming his weapon. No, that's not the guy, I called out, the attention of one officer caught by my words.
Where's the perpetrator?
He asked me, but I had no good answer for him. He's gone. Ran off maybe 10 minutes ago. But that man over there, the one who's unconscious, he was in on it. I just found myself talking again, like I did, with absolutely no clue how I was going to explain Sean's state.
There's a gun on the counter there. It's his.
Kian finally chimed in, nodding at the weapon on top of the front counter. One of the officers went to fetch it, while another came around the counter to see what Kian was doing, Sean laying slumped over on himself, snoring.
We're going to need medical,
he called out to his fellow men in blue, and one of them was immediately in contact with dispatch.
Can you tell us what happened?
The first officer started asking me questions again, and my mind went blank. I don't know if I can right now, I fibbed, holding my hand to my face to convey that I was in distress.
Don't worry, ma'am. Take your time. We'll talk to the other 2 first.
The officer assured me with a pat to the shoulder before he motioned to Sal to follow him. I just watched in shocked silence as Kian's mouth moved, talking to 2 officers. Sal's was doing the same with the other man in blue, but I heard nothing anyone was saying. I was scared and confused and wanting to wake up from this reality-spawned nightmare.
Hey, come here for a second.
Kian spoke closely to my ear as I felt his arms slide around my waist, and he steered me over to some waiting chairs.
If they ask, I'm your boyfriend. It's the only way they'd let me come over here to console you. One mentioned that you seemed like you were in shock.
I nodded my head slowly, not able to look at him as I tried to really take in what he said.
I told them that Sal and I heard a commotion and came out to see what was going on. Found you and an unknown assailant in the bay. A fight ensued between me and him. You were left with Sal. I didn't see what happened with Sean, and neither did he, so that story is up to you. But for real, what did you do to him?
Kian gave me a rundown of his statement, but ended it with a question I wasn't sure I could answer. I just disarmed him. I came up with a story on the fly. I took self-defense classes for a couple years. I tried to come for you. He pointed the gun at me. I disarmed him and smacked him in the face with the butt of the gun. I panicked. Kian let out a whistle.
Well, goddamn, babe. You sure know how to handle yourself. Maybe I don't need to keep rescuing you.
He winked at me with the joke, trying to lighten the mood, but I was sort of becoming accustomed to his rescues and didn't know if I wanted them to stop. Made me feel safe, protected, cared for. I should go talk to them. I didn't mention anything about what was just said, and instead stood up from the chair and walked straight over to the officers. I think I'm ready to talk now.
Wow, chapter 4 actually flew by faster than I thought, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 5 for you guys, because I know you're probably just frothing at the mouth for it. Is that the right term? I don't know, but here's chapter 5. Does magic work like that?
I ended up telling the police the same lie I told Kian, and hoped that it was somehow feasible enough that it would be taken seriously, but the man had no wound on his face where I supposedly hit him, so I wondered how that would fare for me. There was also Sean's point of view, but would he readily admit that the gun was just shot from his hand, and he went flying backwards in the air, all without ever being touched? Maybe he'd have no memory of it at all. When we left the auto body shop, Kian insisted on buying me lunch, as much as I didn't want him to fawn over me. But the weirdo seemed like he genuinely cared, so I allowed him to take me out to Doug's Donuts for their famous Reuben sandwich and a frosted lemonade with an added 6 donuts on the side. We decided not to eat in, as I was still too addled from the attack and everything that ensued, So I offered to use my place as a lunch spot so I could be in my comfort zone and check on Catastrophe.
This is a nice space you have here. The design is rather modern.
Kian commented as we stepped in the door and I directed him to put the food on the table. It was renovated years ago. My grandmother closed off a lot of the building when my grandfather passed. I think it was all too much for her. She had this side of the building boxed off by walls and created a smaller living space for herself with a more modern twist. I think it's because it was cheaper, honestly. I found myself blabbing as I took our food out of the bags and set them on the table.
Has me rather curious about what the rest of the building looks like.
Kian returned, opening up his to-go box as he sat down at the table. There's a huge basement that's still full of antiques. Then the front room level you've seen. The rest she basically walled up, and there's no way to get to it because she cut off access to all other doors, save for this one and the one in the basement that leads to the alley. I pointed at my front door, still standing because sitting didn't really feel like an option.
Makes me think of the Winchester Mystery House.
Kian gave me a pensive nod before he bit into his sandwich. He was right. I had no idea why my grandmother did what she did aside from what she said about it being too much for her. But it was strange the way she went about it, and I never thought to ask her since our final meeting was so fraught with illness and end-of-life dealings. It's definitely odd, and a mystery that might never be solved. I commented, finally able to take a seat and enjoy my meal. We ate and chatted for a bit, talking about nothing really. It was just idle chit-chat and small talk. But once we had finished eating and I put away the leftovers, Kian decided he needed real answers from me.
Hey, Briar. Are you sure you hit Sean in the face with the gun?
He asked, throwing away the trash from my meal. I was caught off guard and left with the decision to either continue lying or tell him what happened. The problem was, it would make me sound like it was time to call the doctors in white coats because I was officially bonkers. I decided to continue the lie. Yeah, why do you ask?
Because there was no mark on his face. No broken nose or laceration. No real head wound that I could see.
Kian returned, and I swallowed hard. Well, maybe I hit him with my hand. I muttered, walking away from the conversation to go light some incense on the coffee table. But I didn't think Kian was buying it, because he asked,
You think you could hit him hard enough with your hand and knock him out like that?
Fuck. I was stuck. There was no way my hand could have done what I did, not even a hand with a gun in it, and there was no mark, just as I knew there wouldn't be, and it had me panicked all over again. I had to just tell him. He was here last night when he had that lapse in memory due to whatever happened. Maybe he wouldn't think I was too crazy. No, I couldn't hit him hard enough to do what I did. They'll most likely find broken ribs and a bad bump on the back of his head, though. I finally spoke, not making any real sense.
Wait, how did it go from the butt of the gun to your hand, then to wounds that neither of those things could create? What the fuck happened? Why are you lying?
Kian was severe as he asked, and it had me cowering a bit. Because, I blurted, trying to stay grounded. What I did doesn't make any sense, and if I tell you, there's a possibility you'll insist on having me committed. Kian's tone softened.
Briar, come on. I'm not going to forcibly take you to the psych ward, but I really do want to know what happened and why you won't tell me the truth about it.
My eyes shifted about the room as I tried to decide on the right words to say. I just did this. I mimicked the motion with my hand, hoping nothing happened now. And there went the gun, and then another wave, and there went Sean. Kian studied me with furrowed brow, mouth slightly agape. I couldn't exactly read the expression on his face, but I knew it had to be disbelief. He totally thought I was a raging nutter.
So you went like this?
Kian mimicked my hand gesture.
And you moved things. Person. You moved a whole ass person. Like Carrie?
I shrugged. I guess like Carrie. I don't know. He just rounded me with the gun and I reacted. I'm thankful the gun didn't discharge. He was looking at me that way again, but this time an eyebrow was arched before he came and sat himself on the couch with a loud exhalation. Rubbing the stubble on his chin, he spoke.
None of that makes any sense, you know. I mean, I believe you because why tell me something like that otherwise? However, after last night and today, I don't know what to say. Shit is really weird. That's all I got.
He actually believed me? I wasn't even sure I believed me. This man was almost just as much of an enigma as my current situation. It's the necklace, Kian. Sean mentioned something about them looking for me, but who is them? And who is Jasper? And who was the Grim Reaper that showed up with him last night? Why do they want this so badly? I asked a bunch of questions I knew he didn't have the answer for, as I took the necklace from my pocket and rubbed the smooth glass of the pendant between my fingers.
Is it somehow worth something and you just don't know it?
Kian asked a serious question, but the answer I had would shoot down this idea. No, it's just sea glass and old copper. No precious metals or stones, just an old heirloom. Maybe it has antique value, but you can't just tell by looking at it. I responded, handing it over to Kian to look at it again in better lighting.
I've never seen sea glass this clear, and red is so rare. Usually it's more opaque, but this almost looks like it has liquid trapped inside. It's a truly beautiful piece, even if it isn't worth anything monetarily.
He commented, holding the pendant up to the light to illuminate its brilliant blood-red color. I chuckled to myself. Maybe it's magic. Kian paused in his examination of the pendant and instantly stood, handing it over to me.
Anyway, I have to get going. I got a call for an emergency job while I was in the office with Sal, and it's about that time. Can I call you tomorrow about fixing the window?
I was rather taken aback by his abruptness, but I gave him the go-ahead. He said his goodbyes, and then he was off. I made sure to follow him down to the shop and lock all the locks on the door to be safe. I didn't need Jasper coming back with easy access to everything again. Hopefully the police would find him based off my description, but I had this eerie feeling that told me they wouldn't. He was in the wind and would probably stay that way. I took a quick nap to clear my head, if 3 hours was quick, and then called Sabrina to check on her, but determined not to mention the 2 attacks on my life over the past 24 hours. She swore to me that she'd be back in a couple of days, and I told her to take her time as I was still trying to clean up shop. She voiced how horrible she felt that she wasn't there to help me clean up, but I let her know that it kept me occupied and that I had help from Kian. Of course, at the mention of his name, she had to know all the details because up until then I hadn't mentioned anything about him to her. So he just happened to be walking by the night of the break-in? Sabrina asked suspiciously as I spoke to her over speakerphone. Mm-hmm. He only lives a couple buildings down, and you know how cop lights put a big target on you when it comes to looky-loos. But he was actually really kind and offered to help me fix the glass in the door for free. Total replacement of all the panes. I answered her truthfully.
Oh, he wants to fuck you then. Doing work like that for free? I don't think so. No random stranger, let alone a man, would offer to do shit for free. He wants to rearrange your insides, Briar. Please tell me he's good looking.
Sabrina returned so crassly, with a devious laugh to follow. I hesitated, because I didn't want to get her started, but talking to her was taking my mind off of things, so I decided to go ahead anyway. Brina, he's like one of those slutty romance novel type of blokes. Like, honestly, he sort of took my breath away when he pulled his hood down. Tattoos, scruff, long hair, dark eyelashes, grey eyes. He's unreal. Sabrina squealed.
Ooh, you better get you some. If he's as fine as you say and he's willing to just randomly stop by and offer his assistance like some white knight, I'd fuck the hell out of him.
Her words had me blushing, and I knew that she wasn't going to let up, so I steered her towards a different subject. We talked for maybe an hour before she had to go and walk the dogs, and I needed to find myself a snack before I went back to cleaning the shop. Maybe these do look better over here. I muttered to myself as I put one of the product tables back together. I had somehow caused more destruction with the attack the night before, and had to hunt down a plethora of candles, organize a whole bookshelf worth of books, and redo the featured table for all the tarot decks I offered, and that was only part of it. The little quake that happened. The vibration to end all vibrations that had the hooded man and Jasper running for their lives. And I had a sneaking suspicion that I was somehow the cause of that. Was the necklace involved? It had to be. As far as I was aware, things like what happened last night, what happened at Sal's, was nothing but fantasy and movie magic. Sure, I always thought we were capable of certain things like telekinesis and psychic ability, but no one to my knowledge had ever done much of anything to really prove it. The hypnosis too, or whatever had affected Kian, was something that was occupying my mind. I knew that it was possible to hypnotize people, but not in the way this hooded stranger did. It took no effort, and Kian just went right along with it. That strange man was also obsessed with my necklace, a necklace that might have given me magical powers. Don't be silly, Briar. Real magic doesn't work that way, and you know it. I whispered to myself as I finished stacking the last deck on the table. Then my mind wandered to Kian and his abrupt departure. He seemed relaxed on the couch, and then all of a sudden he was up and ready to leave. He did say he had a job to do, but something was off. Something just wasn't right. Regardless, that man had saved my life twice in a matter of 48 hours, and I had done nothing but cause him trouble and distract him. Maybe I should make him a welcome basket as a thank you to start. I spoke my idea out loud before I went into the back room and grabbed one of the many baskets I use to make custom gifts with. Always good to cleanse a space. I noted as I went over to the herbs and found a nice cedar and pine smoke cleansing bundle to put in the basket. Guys like candles too, right? I asked myself as I perused the candles, finding one in a pale blue that was created to protect the home. I continued to talk to myself as I changed direction. Pocket crystals. Is that weird? Work with me here. Is it? I chose a shiny tiger's eye, a raw hunk of quartz, and a smooth carnelian that had the most beautiful spots. From there, I added some hand-blended tea in a rich flavor I called Blood Moon, a tea strainer to go with, a mug that had a picture of a Celtic knot shaped like a wolf head, some dragon's blood incense, handmade pine tar soap, a pack of marshmallow witch hats custom from Doug's Donuts, and a handwritten note thanking him with an added, "I owe you," because this didn't come close to covering it. When it was all together, I stuffed some raffia in the basket, rearranged all of it, tossed in some extra candy, and then tied it up with a ribbon. All of this to just stand there and stare at it on the counter while I figured out what to do. Call him? Tell him that I had something for him and I could bring it over? Calling was probably best, but I was anxious over what transpired earlier, and so I chickened out. He's probably not home anyway, right? I'll just go leave it at his front door or something. Or maybe knock and run if he is. I just feel weird about facing him right now. I continued to talk to myself. It was a bad habit, but I had always done it. Mum had too. She said it helped work through your problems, and Einstein had done the same, so who was I to not take the compliment? I grabbed my coat from the back room since it had been a bit chilly earlier, and then took the basket before heading out of the shop. I had absolutely no idea what time it was at this point, so I figured I would just leave the basket and go. From what I knew, no one was going to take it if it sat there for a bit. 2A. I whispered his flat number as I got to the door and just stood there staring at the number plated in fake gold. Just knock and go. I gave myself a little pep talk before I knocked. Just 3 quick raps, and then I bent down to leave the basket on the mat when the door opened and I was eye level with Kian's sweatpants. "Hey, Briar, what are you doing here?" he asked, and I straightened myself to find him looking at me with a raised brow, his hip cocked to the side. I just wanted to bring you this housewarming gift. I should have called, but I didn't want to bother you. Was just going to leave it right here." I stumbled over my words before pointing down at the welcome mat. "Kian, you're out of hand soap in the bathroom." I heard a voice, and then a woman appeared in the doorway, a woman that was almost just as gorgeous as Kian was. "I need to make a store run for essentials." Kian spoke to her before turning to me. "And thank you for bringing this by. That's so sweet of you." The woman eyed me with a look that could only be interpreted as disdain, her perfectly lined upper lip pulled back in a sneer. I could tell immediately that she didn't like me. "Oh, Briar, this is Lizzie. She's an old friend of mine." Kian introduced us as if he could feel the tension. "Briar. That's a real interesting name. You pick it yourself?" Lizzie asked me, and I could just hear the mocking tone in her voice. I shook my head, not making eye contact with her. No, my mother said that I was always a bit prickly. Oh, that was going to keep this woman from mocking me anymore for sure. You are a bit of a prick. Lizzie let out a laugh as she pinched her fingers to denote something small, and I saw Kian's eyes widen before he rolled them. I do try. Can't be nice to everybody now, can you? I laughed along before adding, especially if they are a condescending twat. This got a stifled look from Kian as he struggled not to laugh, putting his arm out across the doorway because it looked like Lizzie was going to throttle me. Okay, well, Lizzie and I were just finishing up business and I have to get an early start tomorrow. Can I come by around 11 to work on your windows? Kian tried to defuse the tense situation and I was thankful. Yeah, that works for me. I'm almost finished putting things back together in there. I answered, starting to back up from the door. Perfect. See you then. Kian gave me a smile and a slight wink before he closed the door, and I breathed a sigh of relief that I didn't get pummeled in his hallway. I really should have called first. That's it for tonight. Gave you 2 chapters. I need to start recording more consistently, but I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I have ADHD, and I know it's not an excuse, but it makes it really hard for me to stay focused on anything at any given time. And I've got the hellhound here that I'm dealing with, and I'm teaching. Out of character, I'm homeschooling. It's really what I'm doing. But I've got all that to do, and then I've got stuff to take care of around my house, and errands to run, and days where I just feel like total crap, and keeping up with social media and writing, and it's just a lot. But I'm trying to get in a better groove. I would have recorded days ago, but literally the month of October took it out of me because I was doing a costume look every single fucking day for social media. And now we're in November, and the holidays are coming up, and I know things get crazy for everybody, but I'm trying really, really hard to bring more content. And when I don't have anything planned, like an actual regular episode that's not stories from the archives, I just read some stories. So reading stories. I'm also now trying to go live on TikTok Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to read basically what I'm doing here, but live. I'm currently doing 667 because I think there's some bits in this story that I can't do live on TikTok without getting in trouble. So I may just leave that for here for now. So if you guys want to follow me on TikTok at Ink Drinker Archives, I'm like that on Instagram and Facebook. I said I'm like that. That's my handle on Instagram and Facebook. You can follow me on all those social media platforms, but I think I post more consistently on TikTok as far as videos and stuff goes. Facebook is me rambling. Instagram is everything that's left over because I can't seem to garner any followers on Instagram. I don't know. I don't know how to hashtag or stay consistent or whatever, but I'm trying. So follow me on social media. That would be awesome. Follow me on Inkit at EMMoon, EMMOON, 2 M's. That would be awesome. You can subscribe to me on YouTube. It's mostly just podcast episodes on there, and then bloopers. That's where I post bloopers when I remember to post bloopers, which I don't always remember to do. And I'm really rambling. I wish you could see the waveform that I'm looking at right now as I'm recording because it looks ridiculous. But I'm just trying to be more authentic and have more conversation at the end, less scripted stuff. And I am just having a hard time not making mouth noises, even though I'm chugging water like crazy. But it is cold and dry, and so that's probably part of it. But you don't need to know that. So that's it for tonight's episode. I'm happy that you guys listen, the few of you that do listen. I don't know a better way to spread things around. So if you have friends that might be interested in this content, feel free to just plug the podcast to them. Share my links on social media if you want to, repost, whatever. That would be much appreciated. That's all the support I really need. Monetary support is fantastic. It's great. It's helpful. But just the fact that you're listening and sharing my stuff, that's the best. That's what I really want. I just want to share what I do with everybody. So I love all of you out there who consistently listen to me, and I love all of you that don't consistently listen to me. I just love you for giving me a chance. And I can't wait for the next episode. I don't know what it'll be, so if you have ideas, give me suggestions.
That's all for tonight's episode. If you'd like to support the archives, you can do so by visiting our Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/inkdrinkerarchives.
You can also find the archives on most social media platforms at Ink Drinker Archives or the Occult Archives with author E.M. Moon on Facebook. As always, I'll leave you with this reminder. Lock your doors, salt your windows, and remember, it's okay to sleep with the lights on.